Everybody wants wallpaper. Yeah, everybody wants wallpaper. If you're gonna invest in anything, invest in a really, really nice sofa.
Having somebody like you that can have the eye for that is great.
And he loved it for a year. And then we got rid of it. And then, one of the things that I think is special about me is that I don't have a specific design style.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Design Discussions with Nadine. I am Nadine, and today's guest is Katie Kildal of Katie K Interiors. So thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
As I just said off camera, it's so nice to get to sit down and talk to you now. It's been a long time coming. We did our introductions on Instagram a while ago, so it's nice to get to talk to you now more in
Yeah,
detail about your business and what you do and all that good stuff.
great.
And what I found appealing about you and your specialization is the kids' rooms that you do. They're so fun and so cute, and that was my attraction to when I first saw your Instagram. And I think I have a suspicion a lot of people would feel like that. It's eye catching.
Thank you.
So my first question is going to be, what got you into interior design to begin with?
So when I originally went to college for child development, and I was a teacher. And about 18 years ago, my husband took a job here in Houston in oil and gas, and I moved here sight unseen, and I didn't have my teacher certification. And so while I was waiting for that, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to kind of explore other things. And interior design was something that I had, been interested in. So I just started taking some classes at Houston Community College.
So I'm sure during that process is kind of when you realized, oh, this is something that I would really want to do.
Right. And honestly, when I started to do it, it was more of I didn't know anybody really in the city. And I had this free time. I was working kind of a part-time outside sales job. So I had the ability to take classes at night or, like a 2-hour class in the afternoon. And I didn't really know if it was going to be a career that I pursued, but I was just in that transition of, what if I try something new?
And we find out that we grew up as neighbors, I guess,
Yeah.
in Michigan and
Yes.
Ohio.
Yes.
So I don't miss the weather. Of course, my family is still all there, but the weather I don't miss.
I miss summer and fall.
Yeah,
I
not
don't
the
miss
winter.
winter. I don't
Yeah,
miss snow. No.
it's funny. I've lived here for 22 years now almost,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I don't know how people live up there, like on purpose.
I know. Well, they say the same thing about us though, with the humidity and all
Yeah,
that too, and the
like I know
heat.
some of my
So
family have visited me before in July and August, and they're like, how could you live like this? I'm like, well, you picked the great time to come visit,
right,
you know?
exactly. We can find air conditioning, but I do not miss shoveling and scraping
No,
and all that.
no,
So
no, not at all. So getting back to your specialty,
Mhm.
what made you go into specializing in children's and family spaces like that?
So I guess when I first started my business, it was more like let's do, whatever somebody wants me
Mhm.
to do for them. Like I took every job that was, offered to me. And I started to get really busy. And all the podcasts and all the, business books that I was reading were talking about like find your niche, find your specialty. Um, and kids they're just a natural, thing for me. Like I
Well,
said, I
and
was a teacher.
yes,
I
I was
was
gonna
in,
say that had to be part of it. You had the child development
yes,
thing too, so
yes,
that made sense.
yes. I taught kindergarten for 5 years. I taught pre-K for 2 years. I taught fourth grade for a year. Um, and I can honestly say that I never have missed being a teacher, but I have missed the kids.
Mm.
And I'm a mom. And so I also see like you want your house to be, look nice, but you
Mhm.
also have kids. So
Mhm.
there's just some, modifications and, things that you have to do for that. So it just seemed like a really great fit for me. Now, I had gotten a lot of advice advising me not to specialize in kids,
Mhm.
um, because it was, everybody said, "Oh, you're not going to make any money, doing that." And I just got to a point where I was happy in my business, but I needed to make a change
Mhm.
because I didn't want to do some things anymore. And that there were just other things that were, either kid spaces or family rooms,
Mhm.
just rooms for families with young kids that were just, I loved doing them. And I felt like when I was finished with the project that I had really, really helped a family. Like they
Mhm.
were so appreciative of, you know, what I had,
The function, the
yes,
organization, or whatever it
yes,
is, yeah.
yeah,
Or just I think too it's hard for people to envision having a space for kids that looks good, or people don't really think about it. At least I didn't when my kids were little. It was just like, whatever storage containers I can get for,
right.
you
Well, I
know.
think a lot of people are, they think that just because they have, young kids, that they don't want to have anything nice because the kids are going to wreck
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Or they'll, say like, we just got a couch at IKEA because the kids are going to wreck it anyway. Whereas I approach it, let's get the best sofa, that most quality sofa that you can afford, and we're going to put a performance fabric or something on it that makes it easy to clean.
That
Because
makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I would rather you invest in something that's going to last.
Mhm.
And if you get a fabric that you can either, have cleaned, once a year, like I do, or I put an indoor outdoor fabric on my sofa. So it's real easy for me to clean up on my own. I tell people all the time, like a white sofa is beautiful.
Mhm.
It is, cleanable. It just takes a lot more work.
Yeah.
It can be done, but
Mhm.
you just have to be,
Well, it was funny years ago when I bought my sofa, and it was it's a love sack sofa,
uh-huh,
which I love because of
uh-huh.
that part.
Yes,
I loved it when the
yes,
kids were smaller because of that. You can take all the covers off and
uh-huh,
wash them and everything, but it is a light gray color.
uh-huh,
And I thought to myself, what was I thinking?
uh-huh.
Why was I thinking light gray? But you're right. If you have it um, cleaned properly, or you have the right guards on them,
Yes,
it's not that bad to have
right,
a light color, which
right,
people tend to steer clear of
right,
sometimes, or
right.
pets, or
Or even like I recommend that if you do a tight back sofa, that it always looks neat.
Mm,
You can just, put like a couple pillows on it. But what I have seen, especially from, well, I don't want to say any specific brands, but like when you have, the real soft cushions on the back of the
mhm,
sofa and kids are like jumping on them or the
mhm.
dogs want to lay there, they look like a deflated balloon, after not even a
Mhm,
year.
mhm.
So that's why I say, like, if you're going to invest in anything, invest in a really, really nice sofa. Um, and one thing with kids, like I tell people, especially like with young ones, like you're not in your coffee table area yet. We're not going to have a beautifully
Mhm.
styled coffee table. You still have little kids; they want to play where you are. So let's leave this space open right here for all their toys, or we do a soft ottoman that can be moved out of the way. Um,
I'm still not in my coffee table era, but it's not because of kids, it's because of my dog now.
yes, yes,
Is a big moose, so
yes.
she does her zooming around
Uh
in the
huh.
middle of the living room between the furniture, so I'm like, "Well,
Yeah,
I guess I won't have a coffee
yeah.
table
There you
for a
go.
while." So, what are you seeing that's trending now as far as what are people wanting other than, the couch that's durable and the fabric is good for kids? Like, what are you seeing now that people are requesting?
Everybody wants wallpaper.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody wants wallpaper.
Mm.
So,
I think that's something that, right, it's been coming back for a while, and I
mhm,
think it was not a thing for a while, and of course in the 70s, 80s,
yes,
90s people had it, but
yeah. I can't think of one job lately that hasn't included wallpaper. Actually, I take that back. I just signed a job that they don't want to do wallpaper because they're also going to be doing a renovation soon, and
Mhm.
so they don't want to commit. Just in case they move walls or anything like that. So I understand that, but everybody's doing wallpaper. And I feel like there's so many options now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost too much. But we predominantly use vinyls because I just love how washable they are. Um,
That's important.
it is,
Hmm.
you know, I mean, especially in bathrooms. And then I just think of kids just find a way to like, you know, shake up a soda and it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, as beautiful as I think grass cloth is, I have only used grass cloth once or twice
Mhm.
in the 6 years that I've been in business, and it's been in homes where there were no children.
Well, and I have to say with that one too, I think it also takes the right person to really like grass cloth
Right.
because of the imperfection look.
Correct.
And a
Correct.
lot of people think, well, when you install that, it was installed wrong or
Right.
something like, no, it's just that's how it's
Yes.
supposed to look.
Yes.
So that's
So
the
that's
other thing.
yeah, that's another thing that you really have to explain to people that that's just it's a natural quality
Yeah.
of grass cloth. So, but like I said, we stay away from that for the most part with young families
Yeah.
and even older families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that you don't do kitchens. We briefed about this before I
Yes.
started filming, which I mean, of course, it makes sense because you focus on the kids' rooms and living
Mhm.
rooms and then, or family rooms for families. But kitchens are my favorite.
Uh-huh.
That's one of my favorite areas to redo just for, I think it makes such a transformation because it's always like the main part of the house, right?
Yes.
Um, now, did you do kitchens when you first started? Were people requesting that and then you
Yes.
discovered,
And it's
this
not
is not for me?
so yes, I did do kitchens, and it's not that I can't do a kitchen, and I will do a kitchen if it's a whole house, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
But what again, when I'm trying to really kind of I don't want to have a wait list that's months long.
Hmm.
So I need to stick to what I do best. So if somebody comes to me just for a kitchen, then I'm going to refer them out to somebody else. Um,
Send it to somebody who loves kitchens, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I feel like everybody has something that they just are passionate about. And I think, first of all, that somebody who loves to do kitchens loves to be in one and loves to cook. That is not me. I use my microwave and pour a glass of wine in my kitchen.
Yeah.
My husband loves to cook, and so
Oh,
I,
lucky you then.
yes,
A
exactly.
lot of
I
women
let
would
him do
say you're
that.
very
Yes.
lucky for that
I
fact.
also learned a few years ago that I don't have to be the expert in everything. And I think, especially when it comes to kitchens, the technology is changing every year.
Mm-hmm.
The things that are out there, like I just can't keep up with all of
Yeah,
those things.
it's a lot of keeping up with the new things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just don't think that I would be the best person to serve somebody who was looking for like the most state of the art kitchen. Now, if you just want a little help with picking your countertops and your backsplash and your
Mhm.
cabinet hardware and your lighting, that kind of thing, or if you're even, because I do like one off consultations, and if, I go to someone's house and they're asking me about like the flow of their kitchen, I'm happy, to
Mhm.
do that. But just a kitchen renovation isn't going to get me in the door.
Yeah. Well, won't get you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah,
It's you'll
exactly.
stick with the children and family spaces,
Yes.
which is good. And
Yes.
you're right. I agree. I like the concept of sticking with what you're passionate about and you love
And
and
what you're good at.
what you're good at,
Yeah.
and so that way you
Yeah.
can bring the best of yourself and your projects to your clients.
Absolutely.
So that's great.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the master of everything.
Right.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
Um, and then also, how do you balance clients' wants and needs with your
Hmm.
own creative vision? Because I think it's hard too when you may have your own ideas. I mean, I guess listening to the clients, of
Hmm.
course, you guys do, but how do you balance that?
So I think one of the things that I think is special about me is that I don't have a specific design style. So I'm always trying to find out what the design style of the client or the clients are, because many times uh, husband and wife don't have the same style.
Hmm.
Um, and so what he wants and needs is different from what she wants and needs, and then we're also, thinking of the family and the pets and things like that. So, however, needs always come before like the creativity because
Mhm.
it really has to function
Mhm.
for the family. And I feel like it's my job to make anything beautiful, And so I really don't
Yeah, like as long as you get the function down, the easier step is making it pretty, right?
100%. So I think where it gets difficult, the most of like function to creativity, not a problem. Function, budget, and creativity is, because anything is possible, as you know,
Right.
anything is possible.
Mhm.
But it's like, how much do we, want to invest in this?
Mhm. Yeah, and what is their budget and are they okay with going over it if they have to?
Right.
Yeah, that
Right.
makes a whole lot
Well,
of sense.
that's one thing that we talk about a lot. Like, what is the priority? Is the design the priority?
Mhm.
Is the scope the priority? Or is the budget the priority? So,
Right. Yeah. So what would you say is the biggest misunderstanding or misconception that people have about interior design?
so I think what's really difficult is that every interior designer does it a little bit differently.
Mhm.
Um, One of the things, because I don't know if it's just because of my teaching background, or I just love to do continuing education into like when we go to High Point Market, I love
Mhm.
to sit in all the panels.
Mhm.
And when I was just there in the spring, one of the panels was talking about that there were 7 different methods of like processes and billing that
Mhm.
interior designers do. And I think that's really confusing to the client
Mhm.
because even if they have worked with a designer before, the chances that I work the same as their past designer is,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Not likely.
right.
Mhm.
So, it's one thing that I've really been working on for the last 2 years is like the whole client experience and just kind of educating them the whole way
Mhm.
as we go of like how this is going to work, what's going on, right now.
Communication.
Yes.
It's very
Yes.
important. I know for me
Yes.
too. The communication is key. Just so they have an understanding of what's happening now, what's going to happen next. Because
Right.
nobody wants to have
Right.
to be the one to ask the question. So being
Right.
upfront with the communication
Yes.
is very important.
Well, and I think that people think that it's all going to happen a lot faster
Mhm.
than it really does. I'm sure
Yes.
that other guests have talked about how HGTV makes everything seem so fast and
Mhm.
so inexpensive.
Yes.
And I mean, I've been doing this long enough, and I still sometimes when I get an estimate, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like it just
Well, and it's just going up from here, right?
yes,
It's not
exactly,
being it's not going the
exactly,
other way,
exactly.
unfortunately.
Yes,
So yeah, it's sometimes it's hard for people to understand that process of the length. So
yeah,
for me too, I'm always very upfront with how long things take, and then, when people add things or change things,
right,
that adds to the timeline, and
right.
But yeah, the HGTV is has been, I think, a hindrance for a lot of us in the industry because of that.
Yes,
They think, "Oh, you
yes,
should be done with my kitchen and,
right.
this
Well,
should."
and another thing that I really educate and talk about constantly is finish level. So, the people that I work with and trust, I and recommend, they have a certain finish level that I'm used to. And I always tell my clients, like, if you have somebody that you love to work with and you want to work with them, then I'm totally fine with that.
Mhm.
Um, and I understand that like your neighbor used this person and they did the painting, for instance, I'm just throwing that out for half the price.
Mhm.
Um, okay, great. But I know the finish level of my painter is,
Mhm.
and so that's, you know,
Sometimes it's hard to explain or
yes,
understand, I guess,
yes,
on that
yes.
side.
And that I feel like has come up where it's just uncomfortable that like then the room is done and it's painted and the client's not happy,
Mm.
like when the paint starts to already peel
Mhm.
off the baseboards because they didn't, use the oil-based or whatever, and so it's just yeah.
Yeah, the challenges that we have to
Exactly,
run into. There's
exactly.
always some.
Yes.
Um, Speaking of challenges, that's one
Mhm.
of my questions is what was your most challenging project that you've had?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see, I'm thinking to think about that for a minute. So I will say, like, 2 come to mind, and one was several years ago, and, I made a mistake in measuring on a window treatment, and the window treatment took forever to come in, like, months, and then, of course, when I went to install it, it was wrong.
Oh,
Okay. So now it is the client, of course, is upset because now they have to wait even longer.
mhm,
And as you know, that those are very expensive,
mhm,
mistakes to make.
yes,
So when I mentioned earlier that I learned that I don't have to be the expert in everything, that is when I decided to really lean heavily on my, workrooms
mhm.
and I measure, and then I have them come measure.
Yeah, double check.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Which is okay
yes,
to make sure that those very costly mistakes don't happen.
absolutely,
Yeah, that
absolutely,
that makes sense. So would that be your same answer for the design fail
yes,
question? Okay,
yes,
so you answered
yes,
you answered
yes,
2 questions and
yes,
went in 1 with that.
yes.
And that's good, and you learned a lot from that too.
Oh, I did. Yes, I feel like those are the mistakes that you only make one time.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody that works for me, like, you're going to make a mistake. And but you more than likely will only make that mistake once.
Mhm. Right. Well, and I always say too, as far as for the client's side of things too, when mistakes happen, because mistakes will happen.
Mhm.
Nobody's
Mhm.
perfect. We want to be as perfect as
Yes.
possible, but it's
Yes.
not realistic.
Mhm.
It's about the approach of how do you remedy the situation,
100%.
and that makes the big difference to
Yes.
people.
Yes. And that goes back to what we were talking about before about the client experience and
Mhm.
about communication. Yes.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so you mentioned you don't really have a design style. You focus more because one of my questions was,
Mhm.
what is your design style or what do you go towards more? But you say you base it more off your client's
I
style and
do.
pull
I
from
will
there.
say that like my own personal style at my own home. I really love, I'm more into clean lines.
Hmm.
I like a mix of really dark, moody colors with kind of off whites. I love old stuff. I love estate sales. I love
Hmm.
auctions and bringing in old pieces to,
New.
yeah,
Okay.
mix in with the new stuff. I have like my mom's grandparents, so my great grandparents' china hutch
Mm,
mixed with like a real mid-century, I like mixing styles like that. I feel like Houston, for the most part, is predominantly pretty traditional.
mhm,
So I do a lot of, traditional, the roll arms,
mhm.
the pastel colored, florals. Um, so it's just kind of figuring out, like I said, what, really lights people up and I don't ever want to do two projects that look exactly the same. And I really try to push my clients
Mhm.
to not do everything that they're seeing on Instagram or what, their three friends have. Like,
Yeah,
let's do something that's,
that's you.
that's you
Mhm,
and that this is a big investment.
mhm,
So we need to make sure that we're not doing something that's just trendy
mhm.
um, and that you're going to be tired of, you know?
Yeah, I think Instagram has helped people discover
Hmm.
their style or things that they like, but at the same time, it also has made a lot of homes look alike
Right,
too,
right.
you know?
Yes.
So I think that that part of incorporating old and new is really
Hmm.
great, or
Hmm.
pulling, something that they had from, like you said, a grandmother or something. So at least they may have a mix of things that they saw online that they liked, but they're also their own personalities in there too, or
Right.
something from their family or from their travels or
Yes.
something that says, "Hey, this is me."
Yes. And I love to work with things that that people already have.
Mm.
Especially because a lot of people do have the cool stuff from their parents,
And
grandparents,
it's
that kind of thing.
interesting how you can see how you can pull something from a different room, put it somewhere else, and it really transforms the space to a completely different looking space,
Yes.
repurposing things.
Yes. Well, that's one of my favorite things to do is to shop the house.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that's why people hire you, you know, because that's not what people do, or people can't think of those
Right,
things or
right.
not know what to do. So having somebody like you that can have the eye for that is great.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and then especially with kids' rooms, most of the time I'm kind of designing up, meaning that uh, I would say 90% of the time, if let's say I have an 8-year-old, I'm thinking of not just what their interests are when they're 8, but what we want the room to look like when they're 15,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So we might do like rainbow sheets, for instance, if it's a little girl,
Hmm.
or if they're, into um, Barbie or, all the things that they're into, then we can like incorporate them like in a pillow or,
Mm,
something that's easy to
to be
swap
moved.
out.
Yeah,
Like in
that
my
makes
own
sense.
child's room, for instance, when he was really into Minecraft, he wanted the whole Minecraft room, the bedding, the whole 9 yards.
Mhm.
And we compromised on a Minecraft lamp and he loved it
Oh,
for a year.
okay.
And then we got rid of it. And then,
Something new and
yes,
fresh.
yes.
Yeah.
So both of my boys have very grown up rooms, um, with their Legos and the things that they
Mhm.
love, sprinkled in. Um, but again, it goes back to we only want to design once. We don't, I don't want it to have to come back in a year or two.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kids are pretty much the same. I mean, my younger one, he's 14. He still has some of the more kid things in
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
whereas my 16-year-old always has been very much about the modern contemporary
Mhm.
even when he was like little kid.
Uh huh.
He liked the contemporary modern. He always likes that style home and
Uh
everything.
huh.
So his room never really was like a kid room, even when he was little, because he always had that eye for, "Oh, I want this modern thing."
That's so great. Like he
Yeah,
just knows what his style is already.
yeah, and he has that same thing. Like, I mean, I think hopefully he'll jump on board with our business too
Yeah.
eventually, and build homes and everything too. But I think he has an eye for that too. And then my younger one is an artist, so he has an eye for design.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It
So
could just be a family
yeah,
business.
exactly. That would be great. So usually I close my episodes with horror stories.
Uh-huh.
Um, I know that you just
Yes.
gave kind of
Yes.
one. Do you have another one for entertainment value that people would like to hear of that you
Oh
recovered
gosh.
from?
So I'm just trying to I have one that's a little fresh right now.
That's good. I like fresh.
Yes. Well, so it's not exactly a horror story. It's just I would say a benefit of why to hire a
Uh-huh.
designer. Um, and and I work two different ways. So people can hire us to do a plan, a design plan, and we pick everything for them, whether it be for a bathroom renovation or for furnishing, and then we pass it off to them, and we can either give everything to their contractor
Hmm.
or we will recommend one. Um, and they take it from there and they do all the project management. Or we do the full service where we do the project management. And recently, I had a full service job. We're handling everything.
Hmm.
And it's not a lot of renovation, but it's some construction, carpentry.
Hmm.
And the carpenter hired the painter and did all the estimates and everything. We had a contract, and he came back to me after we had agreed on everything, and the painter was supposed to come out in 2 days,
Hmm.
and said, "I'm so sorry, but the painter bid the project incorrectly, and we're going to need X amount of more dollars."
Hmm.
And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me," because
Yeah.
we had a contract between me and the
Hmm.
carpenter hired the painter.
Mm.
And So, yeah,
Well, I think that could be considered horror.
it's it
When
it
you're
it
being
was.
charged
It was
more than you originally were told.
yes,
Yeah.
and so I say that, the clients never had to worry about that.
Yeah. They didn't
Um,
have to stress
they did
about
not
it.
have to stress about it. It would not the way that I run my business, if we have an agreement of how much something's going to cost, that's how much it's going to cost.
Mhm.
I decided to have my own painter do the painting, and it's a horror story because it now has damaged, that
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah.
So it's a horror story for me, I would say, because it's very, upsetting.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, I say to the client, like, this is why it's a great idea to hire us or any designer,
Mhm.
for that project management so you don't have to deal with these headaches.
Right. And there can be,
Yes.
you know, quite a few of them
Right.
that
And as you were
happen.
saying, like, mistakes happen,
Mhm.
and just not having to, deal with those
And the
mistakes. Like,
stress.
yes.
Because it's
Yeah.
stressful enough when there's construction involved for the clients in
Hmm.
their home. So being able to eliminate those little details that they know that they can have somebody else handle is it's a
Hmm.
huge benefit. I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you
This
so
was
much for having
fun.
me. Yes, it
Yes.
was.
I hope everybody enjoyed this episode and stay tuned for the next one.